very good morning to all of you. Today we are going to start chapter 3, that is drainage. Children, in this chapter we are going to study about the rivers of our country. But first of all, we must understand the meaning of drainage. Drainage refers to the river system of any area. A river, along with its tributaries, forms a river system. And the area which is drained by a single river system, that is known as drainage basin. Sometimes any upland or mountain that separates two drainage basins or two drainage systems, that upland or mountain is called as water divide. Here you can see certain features which are made by the rivers along their course. In the upper course, you can see that the rivers, they carve out deep valleys. Why they carve out deep valleys? Because this is the youngest stage of the river and river is having so much energy or the erosional capacity in it. Then in the middle course, the river makes meanders and oxbow lakes in the floodplains, and in the lower course the river's energy gets down and it generally forms delta and other depositional features. When the streams flow in the drainage basins, they form certain patterns also, and these patterns depends on the slope of the land, underlying rock structure and climate of an area. So there are basically 4 types of drainage patterns. First one is dendritic drainage pattern. This pattern follows the slope of the land and it resembles the branches of a tree, and hence it is called as dendritic drainage pattern. The next one is trellis drainage pattern. When a river is joined by its tributaries forming right angles, then trellis drainage pattern is developed. This pattern develops where hard and soft rocks exist parallel to each other. Then comes rectangular drainage pattern, which develops over the strongly jointed rocky terrain. Then radial drainage pattern. When the streams flow in different directions from a central peak or dome-like structure, then radial drainage pattern is developed. This is the map in which we can see different rivers which flow in our country. And the river systems, they are regulated by the physiography of our country. There are 3 rivers which are called as Himalayan rivers, that is Indus, Ganga and Brahmaputra. And then Narmada and Tapi, these are west flowing peninsular rivers. And MAHANADI, Godavari, Krishna and Kaveri, they are east flowing peninsular rivers. Now features of Himalayan rivers. Himalayan rivers, they are perennial rivers. Perennial means they have water throughout the year and they receive water from the melting snow as well as from the rain. The Himalayan rivers, they are long rivers. They have long courses from their source to the sea. They perform intensive erosional activity in their upper courses and carry huge loads of silt and sand. In the middle courses, they develop meanders, oxbow lakes and many other depositional features. In the lower course, they develop deltas. Now the features of peninsular rivers. Peninsular rivers, they are seasonal rivers, and that's why they receive water from the rainfall only. These rivers are shorter as well as shallower. Some of the rivers, they originate from the central highlands and flow towards the west. Which are these rivers? Narmada and Tapi. Most of the peninsular rivers, they originate in the western Ghats and flow towards Bay of Bengal. Here you can see the major Himalayan rivers which we'll discuss in detail in this chapter, that is Indus, Ganga and Brahmaputra. First of all, we'll discuss Indus River. The Indus River, it rises in Tibet near Mansarovar Lake, and it flows west and enters India in the Ladakh. Here you can see the location of Mansarovar Lake, and you can see Brahmaputra River, Indus River is moving towards west in Ladakh. Here many tributaries joins it, that is the Jaskar, the Nubra, the Shyok and the Hunza. Then it moves westward and goes through Baltistan and Gilgit and appears from the mountains at Attock. Here several tributaries like Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, Beas and Satluj, they join the Indus River at Mithankot in Pakistan. Then the Indus flows southwards and finally drains into the Arabian Sea, that is east of Karachi. The length of Indus River is 2,900 km. Indus Water Treaty was signed in 1960. According to this treaty, India can use only 20% of the water for irrigational purposes, and the states which can use the water are Punjab, Haryana, western and southern parts of Rajasthan. Now comes the Ganga River. The Ganga River head stream is known as Bhagirathi, which rises or fed by the Gangotri glacier, and it is joined by Alaknanda at Devprayag in Uttarakhand. Here you can see Gangotri glacier and Bhagirathi river. The river Ganga has many tributaries. The well-known tributaries are Yamuna, the Ghagra, the Gandak and the Kosi. Yamuna river rises from the Yamunotri glacier and it runs parallel to the Ganga river and finally meets Ganga river at Prayagraj. Then Ghagra, Gandak and Kosi, these rivers originate from Nepal Himalayas. Then these are peninsular tributaries Chambal, Betwa and Son. Enlarged with the water quantity by the right and the left bank tributaries, the Ganga river moves towards east till Farakka in West Bengal. Farakka is the northernmost point of the Ganga delta. Here the river bifurcates. The Bhagirathi Hooghly river runs southwards and finally merges with the Bay of Bengal. And the main branch, it moves through Bangladesh and it was also joined by the Brahmaputra river. The length of Ganga river is 2,500 km. Here you can see the world's largest delta, that is Ganga Delta or Sundarban Delta. Now we come to Brahmaputra river. Brahmaputra river rises from Tibet east of Mansarovar, that is very close to the sources of Indus and Satluj. It is longer than Indus river and it flows parallel to Himalayas in eastward direction. When Brahmaputra river reaches Namcha Barwa, it takes a U-turn and enters in India in Arunachal Pradesh. Here it is known as Dihang and it is joined by many tributaries like Dimang and Lohit and many other tributaries. These are the flooded areas of Assam and Bangladesh during the rainy season. Brahmaputra river is a braided stream. Now we come to the peninsular rivers. The western ghats, they form a water divide. These western ghats, they run from north to south close to the western coast. The major west flowing rivers are Narmada and Tapi and they drain into Arabian Sea. The east flowing rivers are Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna and Kaveri and they drain into Bay of Bengal. Now we'll discuss about Narmada river. This is Narmada river and you can also see the Tapi river. Tapi river is shorter than Narmada river. The Narmada river rises in the Amarkantak hills in Madhya Pradesh. It flows towards the west in a rift valley, and on its way it creates many picturesque locations like the Marble Rocks and Dhuandhar Falls. The tributaries of the Narmada, they are very short, and most of these join the main stream forming right angles. Means they develop which type of pattern? Trellis drainage pattern. This basin covers parts of Madhya Pradesh and Gujarat. Now Tapi River. Tapi River originates in the Satpura ranges in the Betul district of Madhya Pradesh, and its basin covers parts of Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat and Maharashtra. It also runs parallel to the Narmada River, but it is shorter in course, and it also flows in a rift valley. The main west flowing rivers are Sabarmati, Mahi, Bharatpuzha and Periyar. Now we come to the east flowing rivers, that is Mahanadi River. The Mahanadi River rises in the highlands of Chhattisgarh. You can see it has risen from the highlands of Chhattisgarh. It reaches the Bay of Bengal after flowing through Odisha, and the length of Mahanadi River is 860 km. It covers parts of Maharashtra, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand and Odisha. Now we come to Godavari River. This is very important peninsular river because this is the largest peninsular river, and it rises from the slopes of the Western Ghats in the Nasik district of Maharashtra. You can see here it originates from the Nasik district of Maharashtra, and it is originating from Western Ghats. The length of the river Godavari is 1500 km, and it drains into Bay of Bengal. It also has the largest drainage basin. The basin covers parts of Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, Odisha and Andhra Pradesh. The tributaries that join the Godavari are the Purna, the Vardha, the Pranhita, Manjara, the Vine Ganga and the Pen Ganga. Godavari River is also called as Dakshin Ganga. Now the Krishna River. The Krishna River rises from a spring near Mahabaleshwar, and it flows for 1400 km, and it also drains into Bay of Bengal. The tributaries of Krishna River are the Tungbhadra, the Koyna, the Ghat Prabha, the Musi and the Bhima. Its drainage system covers parts of Maharashtra, Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh. Here you can see it is 1400 km long river, and it originates from the Mahabaleshwar, a spring in Mahabaleshwar. Now the Kaveri River. The Kaveri rises in the Brahmagiri range of the Western Ghats and reaches the Bay of Bengal in the south of Kadalur in Tamil Nadu. You can see where is Kadalur. The total length of Kaveri is 760 km. The main tributaries of Kaveri River are Amravati, Bhavani, Himavati and Kabini. It covers parts of Karnataka, Kerala and Tamil Nadu. Now we come to lakes. India has many lakes, and they are well known for the scenic beauty, boating, swimming, etc. One of the most famous lake is the Dal Lake of Kashmir, and it attracts thousands of tourists. Not only this lake, there are many lakes which attracts thousands of tourists. Most lakes are perennial. They have water throughout the year, but some lakes are seasonal also. They receive water from the rainfall only. And most of the freshwater lakes, they are found in the Himalayan region. They are of glacial origin. The Vular Lake in Jammu and Kashmir, that is the lake which is the result of the tectonic activity, and it is the largest freshwater lakes in India. Other freshwater lakes are Dal Lake, Bhimtal, Nainital, Loktak and Barapani. There are also some artificial lakes such as Guru Gobind Sagar, which are formed by damming of the water. Now, the importance of lakes. Lakes, they are very much helpful for us because they regulate the flow of water, They prevent flooding during heavy rainfall. They also helps in the production of hydroelectricity, irrigation, navigation facilities are also available. They also enhance the natural beauty, and that's why they promote tourism and recreation spots. Now, role of rivers in the economy. Rivers, they have been of fundamental importance throughout the human history. Water is a natural resource and is essential for various human activities. And that's why the river banks, they have always attracted settlers from ancient times, and these ancient settlements now have developed as the big cities. We use the water of rivers for various purposes like irrigation, navigation, hydropower generation, and where an agriculture which is on which our economy is dependent. For it, water is a very important resource. But as we have seen that the need of the water is increasing everywhere, like domestic use, for industrial use, for agricultural use, we need water. But what it is creating, when heavy loads of untreated sewage and industrial effluents, when we discharge it into the rivers, what do? They lower down the quality of the water. They also lower down the self-cleansing capacity of water, and that's why various action plans have been launched to put a halt on river pollution, and the Ganga action plan is one such plan which has taken place. Thank you. I hope you all have understood this chapter.